a memorial, kind of a wall, and originally it was done for an exhibit for Day of the Dead that I put together. There were about a dozen of my friends, that were in the music business and artists and different folks that I had photographs for. I built them on the altar, and it falls on November 1st and 2nd, every year. And the first, November 1st is for the kids, and November 2nd is for the adults. We honor these folks and all our friends, on those days by remembering them, and then either throwing a party or a barbecue, or maybe going out to eat and delivering, different candles and gifts to different altars if somebody has it. Ours has been here since almost 5.5 years now, and in the beginning stages, it was only to kind of more or less touch another part of the culture, I think, here in Austin. So on that note, it grew, I don't think it was more than 20 feet. Now it's over 125 feet. Over 50 photographs of friends and neighbors and relatives. These are the folks that actually created Austin for what it is, and that's why we're honoring a lot of them. Of course, a lot are musicians, but there's also politicians and writers and bartenders, stagehands, so they all had a lot to do with the character of Austin, and it's a good one. A lot of this was spread by word of mouth. That's the only way it could have happened. But now it's world. This is the wall that we did this June. It's called Back to the Beach, and there was a celebration of all our friends from Corpus. I'm from Corpus too, and so there was a big migration of all my friends that moved in the early 70s, 70, 71. I eventually moved here in 73, and so along with all these folks, there was a lot of musicians and artists that are still playing. Farrah Fawcett came to the University of Texas and graduated here, and Pepe Serna, who's in Scarface and American Me and Zoot Suit and Car Wash, he was also in the same class that she was in when they graduated. This is my wife Leah Meckling, and she was from Corpus. Mike Gersman played drums with Connie Bone a lot. So a lot of my friends that are still here playing and been here about 35 years. And so with this celebration, it kind of marked a reunion of sorts, because we hadn't seen each other in over 20 years, and that was a great time. And so as a tribute, this is why we decided to give us a party, and decided to get all the guys that are musicians up on stage and showcase them, and it turned out to be a great party. This is almost 2.5 years old, I think, and I think I started during late spring, because I remember it was after South by Southwest. And the reason this one got started is because our next door neighbors, they got a loan from the city, and they added an extra bay to their work area and worked on the parking lot. And they put up a fence, chain link with razor wire on it. It looked like a concentration camp. And the owner of Planet Cave, my client got mad and wanted me to cover it up. And so this is the main idea why this came down. And so the neat part about it is that he wanted to go as high as I did, and so, but it got me in trouble because the city came in and said I needed a permit for the structure and stuff. So it took weeks and weeks after butting heads to finally get the agreement that we could actually keep going on it. So their whole idea was that I needed to have 75% airflow, and so I had no idea what that was. And they were talking about the spaces between the gaps, between the wood, so they wouldn't catch very much wind like a sail. And so I took care of that. That's why the stars came into effect, and more of the pieces of open space up there. And so now it's turned into an art project. That's gonna join up with the other fence, and so eventually it's just gonna be one giant wall. This is our famous stage that we put together. We have to have the music for our openings, for every exhibit that we have. We change them up every 6 weeks. And so with each exhibit comes a party, and that's what this is. This is how we celebrate, by having music as much as possible. Sometimes we'll have movies, you know, sometimes we'll combine them both, you know. Originally, this was our size of our stage. I added more of a wing to it, but what the white part was the original size of the first stage, and it was white, and so I was using that to show movies every Sunday. And eventually, of course, I let the people start signing and putting their thoughts on the wall itself. But no, the Virgin came in. She was for a vintage shop on the drag called Good God Clothing Company. They sold a lot of vintage clothing. There was a sign on their wall that said "Cash for Jeans," and I couldn't figure that one out. And they asked me why. I mean, I asked them, "What's the deal with the sign?" It says, "That's how we make all our money, man. The kids, when they need money, they sell their jeans to us. We give them $5 and sell them for 30, you know." And I'm going, that's where the idea came for the jean idea, as far as putting her with jeans. I mean, I think she was up there about 5 years, and then they moved their location to south to Old Toy Street. And I told him, "When are you going to put the Virgin back up?" And he said, "Oh no, we can't put her up." And I'm going, "Why not?" He says, "Oh no, I'm afraid they'll burn this building down with all these Mexicans in the neighborhood." I'm going, "No, they won't, you know, you gotta be kidding me." He said, no, I can't put her up." I said, "Well, at least let me have her, you know, because I'll put her up." This is all part of a big giant mural thing that we were doing. It also involves the parking lot. And the parking lot already started. I've been experimenting on the car spaces with a lot of the paints and stuff. Eventually this whole parking lot is going to be painted up. And we're doing a takeoff on LA with Hollywood on the Hills. Ours is going to have South Austin in the parking lot in 15-foot letters. And then more artwork on top of the roof. And then you're going to Google her 1516 South Lamar. There's your parking lot mural. You know, so that's the idea that I'm shooting for. And only problem is where to get all the fucking paint. This was our first acquisition that we got for the museum. And these folks came in and they said they wanted to donate a Ken Featherston mural. And I told them that Ken had only done one mural, and it was up north somewhere in some house. And then they said, "That's the one. So we want to give you that mural." Ken came from Corpus. He was my best friend. We both came out of Corpus. He's the one that brought me to Austin. And so I think he's got about 30, 40 posters that he did for the Armadillo, among other concerts. He could do it all. He was an incredible person. And this was, again, the last mural. He did some album covers. He did Star Cross, which is that one right there. He also did an album cover for Marshall Tucker Band. And so he was out there, and he couldn't wait to keep going, because we had talked about putting more projects together, and maybe hitting the road and figuring out ways how to get all our stuff out, you know, to the world. And so we're still doing it. You know, we're still adding more and more artists to our list of folks that are kind of more or less pushing the music and pushing that envelope on art and creating new stuff.